Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Get into his house and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. It's the best day of the week, folks. It is the best day of the week. It is Thursday, September the 19th. Ben McKee, Go Balls 247. I'm Jason Swain, live from the Low T Temple studio. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Feeling good?
Feeling great. Having odd confidence about Saturday night. And the reason I say it's odd is just because, well, pre Josh Heupel, there weren't many games of this nature that I went into feeling very confident about Tennessee football. Your era of Tennessee football, 90s, early 2000s Tennessee football was a little bit before my time in terms of assessing the situations from Saturday to Saturday and understanding the rosters and how the games work. I was a kid then, so I didn't understand back in those great days of Tennessee football. I grew up on, unfortunately, Derek Dooley, Butch Jones, and then as I got into college and post-college, the Jeremy Pruitt era. So I have when I say an odd confidence, I'm just not used to being confident heading into Tennessee football games like this, but I really am confident about Saturday night. I think Tennessee's the better team, and I think several matchups favor Tennessee.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Tennessee football. The last time Tennessee got a big-time road win was at LSU 2022. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. That was a really good football team. That was a team that played for an SEC championship. That team was good. So that was the last time. Now, the last time Tennessee has won a game against a top 15 team, that dates back to, my last year. Wow. And so here's a great opportunity. I do think Tennessee is a better team. I think Tennessee enters this game the same way Oklahoma entered the game against us in 2014, where they were just better. They had more depth. They had more talent all over. And it took for us to have our best game in Oklahoma and not to have their best game for us to have a chance to win. And that did not happen. So 2015, we were the better team as far as personnel, but they had better coaching, and they beat us. Here we go, 2024, where Tennessee, I feel like, has better coaching and better players. Is there one thing that stands out for you of why you are so confident and why Tennessee is going to win? I got an example that I want to lay down of why I think Tennessee is going to win this game and why I'm super confident, but I want you to start us off.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to put a bow on that mini conversation we were having about it being such a big game and a great opportunity for Tennessee. I did want to ask you how big of a football game you think this is since fill in the blank. When was the last time Tennessee played in this big of a football game? Or the hot buzz question in sports is always like, okay, this is Tennessee's biggest game since fill in the blank, excluding the 2022 Alabama game. I think you may have already given us your answer. If that is your answer, the LSU game, then I have a different answer, but curious as to what you think about this being Tennessee's biggest game since when?
Probably since Missouri. Night game, away game, against a team that's talented. I can't think of another game after Missouri and before Oklahoma that stands out. Before Missouri, I would say at Alabama. as far as like the biggest game on the road and against a team that's pretty good. Kentucky we won on the road, but I think Tennessee was a better team with better talent going into that game, and it's Kentucky. So I would probably say Missouri than Alabama.
So each week on GoVols247.com, every Wednesday night from 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, I hop on the checkerboard and chat it up with our great following. I call it Bantering with Ben. We held that last night, and I was asked that question, and my answer, Swain, maybe a little outside of the box, maybe too far outside of the box. But I think this is Tennessee's biggest game since the 2016 Florida game. And I realize that Tennessee, as you just laid out, has played in several big games since then. But the way that I thought about it in my head was that Florida game in 16, and when we're talking about this game, try to leave out the thought in your head that that team peed down their leg following winning that game. The season did not play out the way that it should have played out after beating Florida at home. But to me, like, Tennessee had a chance to make a statement that day against Florida, get the monkey off of their back with the Gators, kind of validate Butch's program at that time. That they had a sense to confirm themselves as a title contender or an SEC title contender. To me, that was an opportunity for them to make a statement. And maybe the result of that game is weighing too heavily on me, but I feel like this is a great chance for Tennessee to also make a statement this weekend and validate Josh Heupel's program. Not that they necessarily need to be validated, but I do think there is a portion, and not that these people really matter, but there is a portion of SEC football fans and college football fans that if Tennessee does not take advantage of this moment on Saturday night, they will throw out the, same old Tennessee, they're overrated. They won't take Tennessee all that seriously. Whereas I feel if you win this football game, like, people already are talking about you as a national title contender. You and I had that conversation on a recent show about how we believe Tennessee is a national title contender. There's been other members of the media, not very many, but a couple who have shared those similar thoughts. And I think if you win this game, it is a statement in the sense of you are validating yourselves as a national title contender, and what Heupel and this coaching staff has built Tennessee up to reach this point. You are validating it in a sense, and I do think there is a bit of getting the monkey off of the back of being able to win on the road in this type of hostile environment as well. Amari Thomas talked about that this week, about how they want to be teams that win on the road in these hostile environments. So I think that this is Tennessee's biggest chance to make a statement since that 16 Florida game. Maybe I'm thinking too far outside of the box, but I really do view this as a statement opportunity for Tennessee in a lot of different ways, and I think it's an opportunity they must take advantage of.
Yeah. I don't know if I would compare this game to 2016. I mean, there was a air quotes curse against Florida for so long, and you're playing at home. It's hard for me to make that connection going back 8 years, and compare an away game to a home game. I do think this is a like you mentioned Amari Thomas and the need to be able to win in a hostile environment. Well, the 2016 game, that wasn't a hostile environment for us. It was a hostile environment for Florida. But it is a big game. It is a game where College Game Day is going to be there. Everyone's going to be watching. If you don't win, there's going to be a lot of naysayers that will have a lot to say. Because if you don't win against this team where you have more talent and more depth and better coaching, then you'll get ridiculed. But just don't think Oklahoma is as good as Tennessee in the trenches and on the perimeter. So it's hard for me to compare that to a Florida team that had multiple dudes playing at the next level, a team that Tennessee struggled to beat. It's only beaten, let's see, beat them in 03, 04, and then 16. And only beat them 4 times since 2003. So, like, it's hard for me to go there. But it is a huge game for sure. I think Tennessee can win this game playing a B game, can win this game by multiple scores playing a B game. But if they play an A game, whew, you know, it can get ugly. And I'm going to go to the phones. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and I want you to share your biggest reason why Tennessee is going to win this football game. I'm very confident. I know I'm very confident. I know people still got BVS and all nervous and stuff for some reason, but you know I'm pretty confident in this game, in this football team for this game. That probably won't be the same when we play against better competition like Alabama or Georgia. I'll have a lot of concerns for sure, unless we show something between now and then that alleviates those concerns. But I still be concerned because it's a really good team. But I want to get to the phones, 865-255-03. It is a huge game, though, for sure. Probably more so outside the X's and O's with Hyper returning and Oklahoma being in the SEC and all that stuff than really the game inside the lines. I mean, I think it's pretty lopsided as far as like the strengths and weaknesses, but that's why you got to play the game, my friend. You got to play the game. All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning.
What's going on, Swaino?
What's up, Buck Nasty?
Oh, not a lot. I'm out here on the back porch in a beautiful West Tennessee morning, having me a loving money and Maliella this morning. And I'm calling in to address Ben and then several others on the Twitter. I've seen comments recently about, was this what it was like in the 90s and the early 2000s? You damn right it's what it was like in the early 90s and 2000s. Let me tell you up front. Because back then, it wasn't a question about what was going to happen on Saturday. It was just a matter of how bad was it going to be for the other team. The only time we was ever nervous was the Florida game. Outside of that, we know we showing up whipping everybody's ass, Ben. I'm telling you, back then you used to nuck if you bucked, son, let me tell you. And that's exactly what's going to happen in Norman when we show up down there Saturday. See, everybody's got this thing confused about what Tennessee football is. I mean, sure, Nico's been great. Yeah, and the wide receivers have been awesome. But don't get it twisted, boys. We whipping people up front on both sides of the football. We are cramming it in their fanny packs and making them like it. And I hate to tell them, when they roll their little covered wagon out this Saturday, they better be looking for some rubber tires to put on it because they fix to have a wagon wheel or two come off, especially when that D-line introduces itself to the entire nation. Look, ain't nobody dropping back and throwing on us. They're all scared to death of Pierce. And them dumb son guns fixing to find out why. I'm fixing to tell you, it's fixing to be a whipping like they ain't never seen down there in Norman. Balls by 50, and it ain't even going to be close. Their offensive line's worse than NC State, for God's sakes. And I don't care how many of them they get back. It ain't going to be no better. Our D-line is rested, and they are hungry. I'm telling you, I'm going to hang up and listen what you boys got to say. Piss on Oklahoma, the whole dang state. Don't let them forget what they done to Heupel. Their prince, their prodigy. He's coming for blood, boys, and I'm going to be right there backing him. You got my back. I got his back. We'll see you later.
I love it. I love it, Buck Nasty. I love it. What you think about that, Ben?
I love it. Fired up.
Oh, man. Buck Nasty always brings it. Always. Always. I'm confident. I don't know if I'm confident like Buck Nasty. Buck Nasty is really confident. I've heard some of the score predictions over the last couple of days. Whew. They haven't changed much since NC State. They haven't changed much. I do think we win by double digits. I think we should win by double digits. I think we will. And if we don't, then something happened where we didn't play our best or we made a mistake or something happened. But as long as we win, that's all I care about. I need my plane ride back home to be pleasant. Nothing worse than being on a flight with the Tennessee football team after a loss in an away game. There's nothing worse. So I need our boys to win. I'm saying this as a player, and I'm saying this as the sideline reporter for Vol Network. It stunk as a player, losing on the road. It stinks now. There's nothing worse. So I just need a dub. That's all I need. I think we're going to get it. I'm feeling really good about our chances to get it. 100%. I feel great. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. Text box, Beatty Chevrolet text box is open for you. If you want to throw in your comments and your questions, we will get to that after we come back from our first time out. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's offsides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Good morning, Swain Event fam. America's College Sports Town has everything you could want in a lifestyle. You want a cottage home in town or a downtown condo, or maybe you're looking for a home with a pool or a lake property. Well, whatever you want, the Knoxville area has it, and I'm ready to assist when it's time to find what you're looking for. So give me a call, Jennifer Morris, 865-694-5904, or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com, and check out my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Go Vols!
The conversation doesn't stop when the show is over. Follow the Swain Event on Twitter and like the show on Facebook.
All right, listen to the Swain Event here on a beautiful Thursday. Swain Event is fueled by Dead End Barbecue. It's Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain, live from the Low T Central Studio. All right, Ben. Biggest reason. Why do you feel the most confident in Tennessee winning? Did you guys give y'all score predictions yet on the website, or do y'all do that on Fridays?
We do that Friday morning.
Have you got yours done yet, but you just haven't posted it, or you still mulling it over?
No, I usually sit down on Thursday evening and jot down my thoughts. I will be picking Tennessee to win this football game. I've been feeling like 31-20 all week, 28-17, somewhere in there. I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight because I think both defenses are better than the offenses. And I think that it will be a struggle at times for both teams to score. Now, I have much more confidence in Tennessee's offense than I do Oklahoma's, but I still think that I'm not expecting Nico to go out there and lead Tennessee to 50 points in his first SEC road start in this environment. There's still questions along the offensive line for me as it pertains to Tennessee. I like the starting O-line, but there's still questions there, especially with Lance Hurd probably going to play, but still technically questionable per the injury report last night as he deals with an ankle injury. But even if he is healthy, is how effective is he on that ankle? Is he willing to take the next step and start to build to truly live up to his potential? Is John Campbell Jr. going to play consistent football this season? Off to a great start, but he also got off to a great start last year and tailed off at times. Left guard, what does that look like for Tennessee this year? And they're going up against a really stout Oklahoma defensive front. So I'm not expecting Tennessee's offense to go score 50, even if I like Tennessee's offense, mostly because I think Oklahoma has a really, really strong defense, and they'll have the home field advantage, obviously. But the thing I feel most confident in this football game is that same matchup just on the other side of the coin. Tennessee's defensive front going up against Oklahoma's offensive line. Oklahoma's offensive line just has not been good whatsoever to start this season. They've been a little banged up, Swaino, but I don't know that that's been the reason that they have been bad. Quite frankly, they have been down. They're starting right tackle, and they're hopeful that he will play this weekend. But it's an Oklahoma offensive line that lacks cohesion. The Oklahoma offensive linemen who have played this season have combined for just 20 career starts as Sooners. 7 of the 8 who have started at least one game this season had never started at Oklahoma prior to this year. So when I think that they lack talent, and I say that in regards to what Oklahoma's offensive line has had in the past. I mean, this is an offensive line room that has won the Joe Moore Award in the past, which is given to the country's best offensive line at the end of the season. They don't have that level of talent. And they don't have cohesion. They're leaning on some transfers, and as a result of the lack of cohesion, it has led to poor play in the sense that Oklahoma has given up 9 sacks through its first 3 games. Only Mississippi State and South Carolina have allowed more sacks through the first 3 games of the season in the SEC, and Oklahoma has allowed 17 tackles for loss. Kentucky, South Carolina, the only SEC teams to allow more TFLs, which, by the way, quick side note, South Carolina has allowed 32 tackles for a loss in 3 games. That is an absurd number. 32 tackles for a loss. I was on CFB stats looking at that, and I questioned whether the stat was correct on their site, because 32 tackles for a loss given up in 3 games is astonishing, quite frankly. But South Carolina and Kentucky, the only 2 teams in the SEC to allow more TFLs than Oklahoma this season. And also, by virtue of the OU offensive line struggling, they're only averaging 4.34 yards per rush on 110 carries. That ranks 11th out of 16th in the SEC. They have not been able to get the running game going with their running backs. Jackson Arnold's been able to create some stuff. He's the team's leading rusher going into this game, but their starting running back, Gavin Sawchuk, he started each of the first 3 games, 35 yards. 35 yards on 16 carries in 3 games for their starting running back, and he's a running back who ran for over 100 yards in each of the last 5 games last season. Now, they do have a junior, Javante Barnes. He is Oklahoma's leading rusher in terms of running backs. He does have 126 rushing yards on 4.1 yards per carry, but has yet to rush for a touchdown. And then their freshman, Taylor Tatum, who is the consensus number 1 overall running back in the class of 2024. He is averaging 6.8 yards per carry on his first 15 career carries for 102 yards. He has a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. But their starting running back, who has started each of their first 3 games, 35 yards on 16 carries. Not ideal. So this Oklahoma offensive line, they allow pressures, they allow defenses to get in the backfield, and they can't get the running game going. And I like Jackson Arnold. Seems like he's going to be a talented quarterback at this level, but he's inexperienced. He's young. And I'd be nervous if I was an Oklahoma fan, regardless of who I'm playing, with a young quarterback behind this offensive line. And I just think it really sets up for a Tennessee defensive front that I don't have to say anything about. We all know what Tennessee's defensive front is about. I just think that is a matchup that favors Tennessee heavily in this football game, and I think it is the reason Tennessee wins this game.
I like it. No, I like it. I like it. Nico doesn't have to be Hendon Hooker for Tennessee to win this game by double digits. Nico doesn't have to be Hendon Hooker, and I mean the 2022 Hendon Hooker, for Tennessee to win this game, whether it's by double digits or by 1 point. The reason why is because Tennessee's defense. Oklahoma cannot run the football with their running backs, or they have not been able to show in the first 3 games that they can run the football with their running backs. They did not do that versus Houston, which is why they altered the game plan, and Jackson Arnold became the leading rusher for the Sooners against Tulane, and now is the leading rusher for the entire season. He had 14 carries against Tulane. So what that tells me is they have an issue generating offense with just their running backs getting a handoff and getting positive yards. When it comes to throwing the football, they're trying to manage Jackson Arnold with short throws because they don't want him to have enough time to get pressured and make mistakes. And so it's quick throws.